Good morning everybody, welcome back to EDT. It is currently a Friday morning and I wanted to do a part 2 to the guide to RGB video. If some of you have already watched part 1's guide to RGB, you will sort of watch that video and have to think, what part of this video is actually a guide? Even myself watching it back thinking, this isn't really a guide, it's basically a load of random waffling by myself and a really cringe-moving video on phone, which didn't really help anybody at all. So in this part 2 video I'm going to sort of explain in more greater detail what to expect when using RGB. So what we're going to do, I'm going to look and put in a very quick video done on my phone because actually I had the PC off because I didn't fancy using the webcam with the PC on. Moving cabling and wiring while the system is on isn't a great idea. So I apologise now for the camera work. I am using a camera phone, it's not the greatest, but you may sort of get the gist. So let's roll the titles and have a look. Okay, here we go, as promised, this is part 2 of your guide to RGB. Right, I'll have to use my phone, since I can't use my webcam because the PC is off. Okay, we'll start with this. That's the RGB controller, which, if I can find the power supply, doing it one-handed, is that. Goes straight into a Molex power supply, then goes into this, which this is then plugged into the outlet on the actual black box. The full of a wire goes into this, which is then split into 3 cables. The first cable is there, which then connects all the way up there, through there, to the RGB header on the all-in-one water pump, which is on the CPU block. The second 2 cables, one of them is there, which runs into the case, right there, sorry, which then runs up there, which is connected to the actual power connector for one of the fans on the all-in-one. So you've got one there and one there. So obviously you've got 2, one for each fan, and then one there, which goes to the all-in-one pump. The difficulty then, once plugging this in and finding somewhere for a little black box to go, is running all the power cables. Now obviously the fans obviously need to take power from somewhere, and that power is there. That is for the front RGB, which is there, which I've just pulled out because I'm going to relocate it. That is your female SATA plug, which then plugs directly on to your male SATA power. Now if you have a difficulty locating your male SATA power cable, it's usually connected to this, which goes into the back of your SSD or your mechanical hard drive. You can usually tell which one it looks like. It should. If I got one spare, I can show you what it looks like. Probably not. Oh yes, I have. should look like that. This is one of your SATA connectors. I believe is the male SATA connector. It's the same one that goes into the back of your SSD right there. And that's all you really need to worry about. Is once you've got all your wires plugged in, and you've got them all properly cable managed so they're not all in the way, like this. If you're wondering what that is, that's it's a fan header for my fans. Obviously I've only got 2 outputs on the motherboard, so I've had to get this so I can run the 3 fans inside the case itself. I've got 1 at the back and 2 at the top. Well, basically that is all you need. Make sure you locate your power connector, like so, and then just wire it all up. I believe that is a power off your fan splitter, which, if you follow these, all goes into these, which is the fan connector for the fans on the only one radiator. 1 there and 1 there. So we are lucky to have a power output just there. I think that's a 4-pin output, or even a 3-pin output. It could be a 3-pin output actually, just looking at it. Yeah, I said that was a 3-pin. Basically that is all you need. So as long as you've got one of them, you can run your fans straight off the power connector. If not, you may need to invest in something like that, where you can jump your fans off. Now, I've got to put all these wires back. I am not looking forward to that. And obviously, I'll show you what I'm going to do with these. So stay tuned for that. Right, back to the main cam. Okay, now let's alliterate, shall we? RGB isn't exactly the most hardest thing in the world to fit in your computer if you have the right peripherals to start the job in the first place. As you can see from that video, you'll notice a load of wires, and it may look a bit daunting to the new people coming into PC modding or PC gaming, as if to think, that looks okay, but I don't really fancy that idea. Well, to reiterate on that, you really have 2 options. If, for example, option 1, you have a mid-tier motherboard. Most of these mid-tier motherboards actually come with RGB sockets already pre-installed on the board. Maybe 1 or at least 2 are actually pre-built on the board itself. So if you want an RGB, or you've got peripherals that have RGB, for example, water coolers, AIOs, fans, not really fans I think, do they? Yeah, certain RGB fans do, if not all of them. Anyway, the point being made is, if you've got them pre-out already on your motherboard, it makes the job so much more easier. So it's just a case of fitting your RGB and then plugging it into your main board, and you've just got a little bit more tidying up to do with your wiring, which isn't really difficult, but I must sort of emphasise on, if you're doing this kind of work, just be careful when you're tying your wiring back, or you're having a clear up of your wiring, not to try and to bend that connection, because it might look sturdy, it really doesn't feel that sturdy. If we jump to a clip, which is a picture which highlights what your RGB socket will look like, it should be on the main board at the bottom. Some of them at the bottom, I'm not sure where else they can be, but they are labelled 12 volt. I think, is it GRB is written on the motherboard? For example, those that don't really know about RGB, the RGB basically stands for red, green and blue, which is the 3 primary colours that is used to highlight and make the lighting on the actual LED strip. Excuse me. But for option 2, if you don't have the RGB pre-outs on the board, you've then got a bit more wiring work to do, because it does mean you have to take off the back panel of your case and actually purchase an adapter, or if you're looking at like I did when I got my all-in-one water cooler, the RGB hub and the wiring was already there in the box itself. But if you don't have any of that, basically what you will have is a black switcher unit or hub, depending on which way you want to look at it, which then plugs into a Molex connector on part of your power supply, which then will split into 2, 3, maybe even 4 outputs, which will allow you to plug your RGB peripherals into that connection. Now, bearing in mind that they don't come already connected, you do have a really small pin like that, about that big, with 4 pins at the top and 4 pins below it. That's basically just to plug it into the adapters that come with the wiring, so you can actually connect your RGB connectors to that hub. Then all you need to do is to find somewhere to put your RGB hub. Oh, excuse me. Find somewhere to put your RGB hub inside your case, or if you're lucky enough to try and have a hole in the back of your case, you can sort of wire it into there and then just get some double-sided tape and then stick it to the back of your case. It may look daunting on that video of how much wiring is actually involved in that, but it really isn't that difficult. It may look bad, but it's really not. If you make sure you can get all your wiring where you want it to go, plug your hub where you want it to be, and just double check which wiring you've got. And to be honest, most RGB components that come with peripherals such as fans, AIOs, or anything like that, you will get a pretty decent comprehensive guide that comes in the box itself. Even if you're not too sure on following that, there is quite a few videos on YouTube already which can actually in-depthly explain how to connect RGB if you don't feel you're really comfortable in fitting it yourself. Or if you want to try it but you're not too sure, there's always hands-on guides on YouTube, or step-by-step instructions on Google, or whatever you want to download it from, where you can actually find the information you need. It's not really that difficult, but it can be challenging depending on how much RGB you want in your case itself. Now, I must admit the case I have, which is a Corsair Carbide, I think it's a Spec 06, actually came with an RGB strip on the front, which is a SATA powered. All it is a male SATA plug which plugs into a female SATA connector that comes from your modular power supply. All you do is just connect that up, and you should have some kind of switching unit which allows you to toggle through your colours and how it displays inside the case or outside the case. But with my case being on its side, I didn't really see the RGB on the front, so I removed it and put it inside the case. Granted, it's not the best looking at the minute, but it seems to do the job quite nicely, and believe me, when it's in the dark, it really looks quite nice. But if you'll excuse me, moving off topic. Oh, I didn't put any sugar in that coffee. Yay! So, excuse me. To summarise, if you are wanting to put RGB in your case, it's entirely up to you. There's 2 possible routes you could go down, and neither of them are really that difficult to do. Even if you don't feel experienced yourself to do it, just try it. The whole point of doing this kind of thing is to learn as you go. I mean, when I first put RGB in my case, it was the first time I did it, and I was, let's just say I wasn't really comfortable or confident in doing it myself, but I bit the bullet, and yeah, it was an experience. The amount of wiring did sort of scare me quite a bit, but once you've got your wiring in there and you start to cable manage it, it really isn't that bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a couple of screenshots in this video of what kind of connectors and outputs you could actually be looking at. even if you need more fans or more fan power supplies, you can even buy on Amazon PWM hubs to connect more fans to your case should you need them. But as for this video, I think I've basically covered all the basics of what you need and what to expect. But it is really down to user preference if you want RGB in your case, or if you don't. But if you do, I hope you found this video quite interesting, as I did making it, and even fitting the RGB was a challenge in itself. So we're going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you like this video, you can hit the like button or the unlike button. Even if you didn't like it, it still goes towards something. But if you like this video and you want to see more, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the little bell notification on the side where you'll be notified of any further updates. But from me and this rather quick video, it's thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.